So let's understand the cloud fundamentals and anything. See, man, already we started speaking about traditional style of architecture or traditional infrastructure. Okay, the main reasons in the ante cost is so huge. Setup takes is a tedious process. It needs time and మళ్ళీ మనం ఇంక్రీజ్ చేద్దాం అనుకుంటే అగైన్ increasing the capacity again involves the cycle of cost, setup, and time. Okay, maintenance uh, is tougher and costlier. Why? Because you maintain చేస్తున్నప్పుడు అది ఎక్కడ పెడుతున్నావో where do you actually hold the infrastructure and is it you need ACs to run for maintaining the temperature of that room where the servers are actually located, and along with it you need network administrators, system administrators, and database administrators along with the maintenance of that. And so you need power, you need a lot of power, and that is actually maintaining itself is a bit costlier. Mm, and you need someone to monitor. So yeah, maintenance and monitoring the entire infrastructure. All this. So this is all the traditional style. Now, where what did just as I mentioned, cloud started saying that you don't worry about all this. Type of services do you want? You wanted a database related one, you wanted a backup related one, you wanted a machine. What type of machine? You wanted a high configuration one or a lower configuration one? You want a graphics one, or you wanted more of high RAM, you wanted more of high compute cores and all that. Yeah, you just ask me, I'll just provide you within seconds. That's what cloud is saying. They're saying that they provide you the infra on rental basis, and that too per second consumption. Paper per second consumption. That's what they wanted to actually count it. Now, but if you see, when we say services, either it's from mobile point of view, you want it, your employees are actually using connecting from mobile phones certain times to your organization's related thing. So you like to monitor the threat vulnerability situation in their mobile phones or their laptops, and similarly wanted to handle the database. You as mentioned network. You wanted to configure a very highly secure network. You wanted to monitor the entire network, what exact things are happening, and do we have an alert or a reporting system in a place which can report us if there are any things which is going wrong as not planned, as not we expected and everything. So and cloud, why just not because of this services, it just became a very huge. Right? One of the main reasons why things have been uh, uh, made a cloud have very huge it is because of the cloud, what the features they're offering. Therefore, they provide non-demand service. One of the main reasons. So, as I mentioned previously in the example, that when you're planning to release a game and you're not sure on the predict, you can't predict actually, you're not in a position to predict the market can love it or not. But if they love it, you need to immediately increase the capacity of the servers and everything. Now, using the cloud as a solution to host your gaming across the world, You can on demand scale your uh, application, and if it is a huge hit, you can then and go there, increase the capacity to 100 servers, and you can do it by yourself. So that's why it's self-service on demand. So whatever you ask for, you will be delivered that deliver you are asked within next couple of minutes, seconds. And the other one is, now when you actually utilize your so you already have this. So the other feature is the scaling part. If you see scaling part, you can actually increase your scaling either in terms of you have one virtual machine, but you bought a two-core virtual machine, two cores virtual a machine, but you wanted to scale it to 64 cores, you can actually do it. No, you wanted two cores, you already have some 10 virtual machines, you wanted 100 virtual machines, you can do it. So vertical scaling and then horizontal scaling is what a cloud offers. A rapid scaling, and so we can also call it as elasticity. Okay, I was actually counting both. Okay, you can scale one resources in a more deeper way, or like increasing more number of ports and everything, or you can increase the more number of resources which you are trying to utilize. When I say resources, just like instead of I calling what machines, any there are many services, right? I can increase their number. So I'm calling each one as a resource in Azure, Microsoft Azure point of view. We call instant in like I have 10 databases. So I mean that 10 instances of databases. I have 100 virtual machines. That means I have 100 instances of virtual machines. Now, instead of that, I can actually say, instead of I have 100 virtual machines, I have 10 databases. I can say that I have 110 resources. I'm just clubbing everything in one place. The resource can be any service instance. So it's a normal terminology which we inside use, not inside, common accepted term. What do you say? Jargon in terms of we when we are addressing the resources in the cloud, in Azure cloud, and pay as you utilize. So as you utilize how much amount of money that you actually pay, and they usually, not usually, they take credit cards only. And as company, few companies have few buildings, so there are different ways of offerings for that and everything. But they charge you only for the per second consumption. That's the key part. Next one is they have a broad network access. They have a very broad network access. Suppose you host your machines in your on-premise, you have to even take care, just not setting up switches and routers will help. You need to ensure that there is a equilibrium maintained in all the network across the machines in the network. So everyone should be in a position to have that speed of at least 100 Mbps, 200 Mbps constantly. Not so there. If you don't configure it properly, then some machines will get 200 Mbps, some machines will get only 1 Mbps, and sometimes they'll not even receive a network properly. So, but here you don't actually face this kind of issues. You need to just create your network, the entire the behind the scenes, whatever. However, the machines inside the cloud, they'll have within themselves a broad network access, consistent one, and it's very pretty faster. The other things which you actually see are the rapid elasticity, scaling, on-demand services, pay as you, and the broad network access. There are much famous. Yeah, they are available 24/7. That's another one. Okay. I could actually say that the service is available and there will be no downtime you will incur. And because of this, they have many automated solution features. Yes. See, you to go and create when you wanted to have a maintenance in your thing or a monitoring, you have to create some softwares which can go and do that activities, perform that activities. But here they have many automated native solutions, uh, native and third-party solutions to monitor. And okay, I'll just give it. That's cloud features and can be integrated with third-party solutions. So that's one thing which a cloud will do. Uh, Obviously, it's further more easier maintenance and it's an easier maintenance. Mm, what else? There are many, a few key points I'm missing. Suppose we go with a Amazon cloud and we have an on-premise. What makes a huge difference is security. Yes, security plays a very vital role. Okay, when you are actually maintaining this, you need cyber security specialists and all that. No need to worry here. Everything in terms of security is what cloud maintains as it. Okay, and everything comes there. See, even it's a pay as you utilize how much ever you are utilizing, and even the utilization is counting as per second. So you can break down the advantages of more if you are as per your needs. But these are all the cloud features. Cloud features అయిపోయింది, but we need to talk about types of cloud. There are different types of cloud which in the market you can see. One is a private cloud and public cloud. Right now, what you're trying to learn as a part of the course is a public cloud. It's an Azure Microsoft cloud. And private cloud, if you are having a look at, just let me increase the font. Okay. When we talk about uh, cloud, we have private cloud, public cloud. Even we have hybrid cloud. We have dedicated cloud. We have mm, 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 let's keep it simpler here. ప్రైవేట్ క్లౌడ్ అంటే ఏంటి అసలు క్లౌడ్ మనం ఏదైనా చెప్పుకుంటున్నట్టు ఒక ఇన్ఫ్రాస్ట్రక్చర్ సెటప్ చేసి ఇట్స్ ఆల్ అబౌట్ సెట్టింగ్ అన్ ఇన్ఫ్రాస్ట్రక్చర్ అండ్ దాంట్లోంచి వీ విల్ రన్ వర్క్ లోడ్స్ ఇన్ దట్ మెషిన్స్ అండ్ వీ విల్ ట్రై టు యూటిలైజ్ ఇన్ టర్మ్స్ ఆఫ్ కన్స్యూమింగ్ దట్ వర్క్ లోడ్ సర్వీస్ యాజ్ ఎ సర్వీస్ బట్ private cloud, when we go into a private cloud, the whole purpose of having that holding that infrastructure might be for a specific user or for a group. Okay, and what does that mean? It's like you're trying to you have a laptop and you're trying to host some features which can be accessed from internet. Suppose you create some links for file share, you create some links for web page and everything. You host your web page so that you go back to anywhere. Suppose you are a marketing guy and everything, and you actually have files. You store it in that. Automatically, you go to your location and from your mobile phone and you store it, and your end of the day that is going back to you from internet to your machine this file and everything. But your laptop is running 24 cross 7 in this kind of case. Okay. Or you take a desktop and you're running it 24 cross 7, where that kind of features you can actually use your link to your machine is being hosting the web application also, and that is accessed across the internet from every people and everything. But your infrastructure was meant to use only for your specific usage, then that becomes a private cloud, and you can have your own private network also if you're interested. So usually it's for a specific group or a dedicated specific user or a dedicated group, and as such. What is a public cloud? Public cloud is what Amazon, AWS cloud, and Azure cloud. So to become a public cloud, you need to have a lot many compliance factors. There are HIPAA compliant and all that. You need to meet all this compliance as a public cloud. If you are planning to host a public cloud, a cloud has to hold a lot of compliant factors, like they are trusted in terms of security, in terms of data storage from someone's third party, and their network is so secured, and the way they segregated in terms of uh, the what do you say, resource pooling and all that. It makes a public cloud. It should have the features, whatever I just mentioned, the cloud features. See, even the private cloud can show these features, and public cloud can show these features. But obviously, it makes a lot more sense that these features are actually coming from a public cloud point of view, pay as you go and everything. Now, what is a hybrid cloud? So, some organizations they they utilize they have their on-prem machines from last 10 years, and they located in terms of setting up through LAN and WAN. Yesterday, I've mentioned about networking concepts no day before one. So, if you have looked at uh, that one, where I was talking about types of networks, we have LAN, WAN. So the organizations, when they set up their own configuration, they might have set up it in terms of LAN, or they might have grouped a certain set of LANs, and along with that usage of workloads in that on-prem machine, they're also utilizing public cloud. Then that becomes a hybrid cloud service. And what is a dedicated cloud? So third party vendors would come and say that, see, we'll set up your dedicated place and we'll monitor your entire uh, infrastructure, and we'll take care of all these things. Whatever you wanted, you ask, we'll ensure that we are providing this all these features. Uh, but no one else will get this kind of service. Suppose if you go with a public cloud, I am creating a machine, you are creating a machine, another person is also creating a machine, that everything could happen in the same server behind the scenes. In either you're going with AWS or Azure or GCP, whatever it is, it goes behind it. It can be hosted everything, whatever services which we are planning to be we wanted to create in our clouds. That end of the day might be running in a single machine for all the people. Okay. I'm just giving you three people are creating a service, then there could be chances that but some organizations wouldn't be interested that their services, whatever they are asking for the features in terms of cloud utilization of this cloud, whatever the provisioning which is happening behind the scenes, they don't want anyone to be in that same machine. So they wanted a dedicated machines for themselves. They wanted a dedicated infrastructure for themselves. So AWS, Azure, Cloud, GCP provides these features, but you have dedicated. There are the third-party vendors who can help you in setting it up also, for by themselves instead of using these platforms and everything. So it's much more famous in this way. There are many clouds as such. That's why the reason why it's just not, you will not hear in the market, just not alone AWS, GCP and everything, Azure alone. We have Ali Cloud, we have Oracle, we have what do you say, DigitalOcean. There are a lot many things. Rackspace is a company which will help you in setting up cloud architect solutions and what do we how do we say this private vendors in terms of setting up this dedicated clouds and all that. So there are many companies who are pretty much good in that aspects and they make a good business out of it. Uh, that's the types of cloud. So before I jump into the next topic, let me pause the recording. So the next one we have is cloud services. So we categorize when we have yesterday, we have seen, I showed you, I went into a short portal and I was showing you there are categories. There is a compute category. In compute category, there are few services, virtual machine and everything. So if you want me to show this, let me show it once again. So when I go, this is an Azure, this is the cloud. So you actually ask for a service from here. Now, what all services can I actually request for an Azure? Now you see there is a general one. There is a in compute category, we have these services. In networking, we have these services. In storage, we have these services. In terms of hosting web applications and all that, we have the services. In terms of managing the mobile from mobile and everything, or whatever, you can actually utilize these services. Containerization as a solution. These are the offerings. We have Kubernetes. We can actually have ACIs. We have app services. Um, and we have for databases, these are all the databases which they can offer. In terms of data analytics, we have a lot many features, Synapse, Databricks, we have Stream Analytics, and yes, we can actually use big data clusters like HD Insights and all that. We can store huge amount of big data in this one. So there are lot many offerings as such, which actually Azure has. These are all the offerings, right? Services and everything. Now, what do you mean by services? You can go and create your. So when I wanted a database, let's assume that I wanted a Postgres database. Now you're not seeing that one, but yes, you can actually request for the MySQL and you can actually, I just didn't enable the Postgres, but you can enable the Postgres server. Yeah, here it is, Postgres SQL. You have MariaDB servers and everything. So when you actually go ahead and create a database, it is a instance in that service, okay, of that service. So you're creating one MariaDB database. You can also create another couple of databases, right? So that becomes instances. Anything which is a service, you have MariaDB 10 servers, like that means 10 instances. And these are all the offerings as a, which as a service and everything, but they categorized it for the sake of a user. So when you wanted to create any networking service, you can directly go into network and look for that, or you wanted anything related to analytics, what is actually Azure is offering for analytics. So in terms of the categorization, they have categorized for user friendliness and everything. Uh, but as a whole, if we bring what does if I categorize in terms of a cloud, what services are actually there and everything. One in terms of cloud point of view, there is IaaS, there is PaaS, there is SaaS. So these are very important to understand. When you actually go into a market, the expectations widely vary based on these things, awareness on your IaaS and PaaS offerings and SaaS offerings. Now, IaaS means infrastructure as a service. PaaS means platform as a service. Next one is software as a service. So when we talk about IaaS, okay, infrastructure as a service, um, what does that mean here? Mhm. uh, See, everywhere there will be a shared responsibility model, and you will hear about that a lot. Shared responsibility. So when what do you mean by shared responsibility and this infrastructure service and everything? We'll jump into that right now. So if I actually take in some interesting one. So let's look at this. Okay. Uh, On premise, you set up your network, you set up your storage devices, you set up your machines, you set up the virtualization environment, you take care of setting up or installing OS in each of these servers or in the virtualization software, and then you take care of the middleware and the runtime. So your application to actually run, you need this runtime and middleware. So this comes under the prerequisite things, like if you're running a Java application, then you need a Java based runtime and everything. And data, whatever the application is generating the data, or whatever application it needs a data for, or it's generating a data or it's consuming a data, all that one you have to set it up. Then you need to set up your host your application on top of it. So you need, might be if you're hosting a website, you need certain softwares to host the website, like Apache, Tomcat, IAS, and all that. So these are all the web hosting softwares which will run on an OS, and OS end of the day will be installed probably through a virtualization software and or you on the top of a servers and the servers should have the hardware to ensure that they have that CPU, motherboard, and everything set up, and they have to have this storage in the storage of, like we have mentioned about RAID levels, right? So it's not simpler thing when you are maintaining on premise. Now, when cloud came in, cloud is saying that we'll offer three services: an IaaS, a PaaS, and a SaaS. Let's go from the left to the right one. Okay, they're saying that don't worry about your networking stuff. Your machines will entirely get your network a broader network access. Let me know how many servers you wanted. Okay. You don't worry about the storage hardware and everything. I will worry about the networking hardware, the storage hardware, the server hardware, and everything. I will purchase, I'll keep it myself. You wanted to ask anything immediately, I will provide. My cloud is providing all these features. Okay. And virtualization, if you're going with the virtualization, setting up that entire uh, multiple workloads should be running might be running in a different OSS point of view and everything. So we use virtualization software that, but the purpose that in a single hardware we can use this virtualization software and can use multiple workloads can use the same hardware and everything. So even that one, they're not asking. Use tell me what, in terms of an IaaS, infrastructure as a service, any service. So there are few services which will come under an IaaS offerings. There will be some few offerings which will come under a PaaS offerings. There are few services which will come under a SaaS offerings in cloud. Now, which comes under an IaaS and what does an IaaS talk about it? So, IaaS main purpose, the infrastructure as a service main purpose is, see, they're gonna give you a liberty to take care of OS, middleware, runtime, data, and application. You don't need to worry about the virtualization or the hardware point of view of the servers, the storage hardware, and the networking hardware. Entire setup will be taken care. You will be only be given the options in terms from the OS level, which OS you version you wanted, specific version you wanted, and what is the middleware and the runtime you wanted to have with, and what where do you wanted to store the data, your wish, or where do you want it to extract your data, you have your control, you can actually plan an application level. So they're saying when we talk about a shared responsibility model, uh, they're saying that, see, this is the levels. Okay, in terms of security point of view, there are so we have to ensure in application level, are we maintaining a security in terms of data access in and out, Are we maintaining a security in terms of a runtime middleware and a OS point of view? Are we maintaining security in terms of virtualization, server hardware, storage hardware, and the networking hardware? Access is not being given to anyone other than within the them. So shared responsibilities of a cloud, what they're trying to say is whatever level I am responsible, you don't worry about security there. The rest of the aspects, you are the person who have to be responsible of. I'm no, I will till whatever responsibility service you are trying to give. Uh, I will be ensuring that the security is maintained at the highest standards and everything. The rest is all your and giving the responsibility to you. So you have to worry about the rest of the aspects in terms of maintaining the security or maintenance of that stuff. So now comes PaaS offerings. PaaS offerings is like platform as a service. Now what they are trying to say is, see, you tell me which Windows, which OS you wanted, Windows or Linux. But after that, what type of is it a Windows 2019 or is it a Windows Server 2019 or is it a Windows 11? That option we can't give you. Okay, they can't give you an option in terms of what version and what type of OS you can. Either you can go for a Linux or a Windows. In Linux, you can't even say that I wanted a Fedora OS, I wanted a family of CentOS. In that CentOS, I wanted a specific version. You can't get that kind of uh, liberty to choose in PaaS offerings. So any service when you are choosing, you don't have the liberty with OS. That means it comes under the PaaS and the SaaS. If you have an option to choose what type of OS you need in that hardware and everything, that comes under the IaaS offering. Now let's talk about even you don't have the access to the runtime. Only thing in the PaaS offering is you can worry about developing your code for your application. You develop your code for your application and you pass that consumption of that application to the Microsoft or to the so you means you pass it to cloud. I meant to say that. So you only worry about setting up a developer team and you will worry about where should this application should be data should be extracted or generated and been ingested again back to that with storage space and everything. That is your area of concerns alone. The rest is all my area of concerns. I will ensure that till the runtime in PaaS offerings the security is to highest standards. What is a SaaS? Now, Azure DevOps tool is a SaaS application. Microsoft 3 Excel is a SaaS application. Microsoft 365 is a SaaS application. You are directly going and consuming a specific software from a specific cloud that becomes a SaaS application. So you don't have even control over the application code. Everything they are going to take care. Okay, you are just finally gonna end of the day. That's what the purpose of running a workload is, actually ensuring that something has been running as a service, right? A software. So that is being will be consumed as an end user. So you can actually previously, if you remember, how do you used to open Microsoft Excel? You used to go and install Microsoft Excel or Office 365 into your machines and used to access. Right now, you can access Excel on online, and that is was because of SaaS. It's a SaaS as a service, software as a service. And do you have access to application code? No. Of the Excel, do you have access to the where this data has to be stored and everything? No, you need to worry about it. Okay, you only you use this application and that generates the data. It will be stored in some place securely. You need to worry about all that. And runtime, middleware, in which OS, what servers, the hardwares, and everything. Rest is everything there. Everything is their headache. In PaaS offerings, you need to worry only about where should you about you developing your application code and where do you how do you deploy it, and when it is generating the data or this consumption of data, are you trying to secure all that? is all the area of concern. In IS, even you're right from the OS, setting up the OS and everything. You don't need to set up the OS. You just have to choose OS version. So you'll have that liberty. And after that, whatever runtime, everything is your choice of things. So this comes under IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS offerings. So in market, why it's very important to understand is, so if you're a 2 years experience guy in Microsoft Azure, or you're fresher in Azure, a fresher and a 2 years experience in Azure are considered the same in the market at this point of time. Not 2 years, 1.5 year. Let's keep it like 2 year fresher to a 1.5 years experience are being considered the same in the market for an Azure point of view. It means that a fresher can actually ask for 2 years package. Only they have to show the worth of that. But here, when I say that, when you actually go to an expectations in terms of interview and everything, they would ask how much, how many, what do you know in cloud, and now you make it very clear that under IaaS offerings and in Microsoft Azure or on AWS, this is what are the services which I'm aware of. That's how you have to speak. And if you're actually, so they'll be convinced with that one. But if you're a 5 years experienced person in an Azure cloud or an AWS cloud, they expect you to talk about how many PaaS offerings are you aware of. Okay. Why is it IaaS is a bit easier and PaaS is more? No. Right now, more of the consumption by many of the individuals which is happening on cloud is still happening on IaaS. Many people are not still comfortable migrating from one on-prem to cloud, and directly they are not interested to go with PaaS. Okay, they are interested to go first. They are okay with giving the this one. Still, they're uncomfortable to give the choose. Leave the responsibility of server utilization and server hardware setup and storage hardware, networking hardware into their environment, because when you store the data, it is being stored in their devices, or when you're trying to run something, it is running in their machines. So many people wouldn't be comfortable in doing that. So it is happening, but because, as I mentioned, of lot of traditional things which are happening, they are shifting to cloud, makes more easier and everything. And when they're choosing, still many people are going with IS, but PaaS is giving a more cost-effective solution and a more faster, and makes you focus on only on the application, developing the application and where the data will be there. Next, the OS level, the runtime, you need to worry. So it gets you PaaS will have more broader features than IS, but IS will sometimes you need an IS. So if I talk, virtual machine is an IS offering. Okay. If we say app service is a PaaS offering, what is the difference between this? In virtual machines, when I go and suppose I'm just showing you, I'm not showing you how to create, but the major difference. So when I'm creating a virtual machine, I have the option to choose what type of OS I wanted. Okay. But when I go and go with an app service, so it's just not OS level I meant there. Okay. I'm going to only say is it a Linux or a Windows, and I don't have more control on that. Any more control on runtime and middleware. Only after creating this, I only worry about developing my application code, pushing that binary files into web app. That's it. And the rest of the features which you will see in PaaS offerings, obviously, but in IaaS you have a more control on your infrastructure than the PaaS. So the questions can come like this: which is the IaaS service in cloud service where you have the lowest level of uh, shared responsibility model? And obviously it is SaaS. Why? You don't need to worry about the application or data and everything. Now, which is a service where you don't have control over the runtime middleware, or you don't need to worry about setting up the what type of OS and everything. It's under the platform as a service. or they'll say which is the cloud service where you have more shared responsibility that comes under infrastructure as a service. Mm. So this is about cloud fundamentals and everything. You can go and have a more broader picture from the other. Go and look at the blogs. Go and look at here's another perspective. It's always encouraged to have and listen to another perspective and everything.